What is going on, everybody? I am the TheShuWarrior, and I am surrounded by bugs. This is probably not a good sign. Welcome back to another ATBA video. This is week 6 of season 14, and we took a loss last week to the new guy Rising, who showed up. And we go from new guy to complete veteran, because now we gotta do another week 6 match against Aster. Familiar enough people on the channel and from my videos know Aster, know our little history, and know that I beat them in the championship last season. And they're not very happy about that. That was probably my last real battle for them in a long, for the foreseeable future. So I still expect them to go relatively hard, as they tend to do. But their team consists of Latios, Cinderace, Dragonite, Ogerpon Wellspring, Iron Treads, Pecharunt, Terra Umbreon with Dark Water Fairy, Tinkaton, Terra Flamigo with Flying Ground Stellar, and Terra Porygon, regular Porygon, with normal Ghost Electric. They've got a very, very scary team to have to prep for. There's a lot of stuff that they got that's going to and can fuck me up pretty hard. Things like Dragonite's always a menace, especially if it starts setting up. Ogerpon's very fast and can hit very hard and can crit effectively. I have very few ways of getting through Terra Umbreon. Tinkaton has the typing to just kind of fuck my day, and they just got Flamigo, so you know. It's gonna be rough getting through that. But hopefully I have a team that can help me deal with this team as best as possible. First up, I have a Life Orb Greninja with Surf, Ice Beam, Sludge Wave, and Water Shuriken. I opted for no Dark Stab because Ice Beam's gonna hit Latios hard enough, as well as Dragonite, and I don't foresee Dark Pulse being useful for anything else. Like, I don't see them bringing Terra Ghost on Porygon, and I have a hard time believing they're going to bring Pecharunt against me. So it just feels like double water with Ice and Poison, in case they are Terra, Fairy, Umbreon, which I think they would be the set here. It's fast enough for Cinderace, so I couldn't go modest because it's undersped by Ogerpon by a couple of points. You know, great time. Next up, we have a physically defensive Tinglu with Citrus Berry. It's got Earthquake, Ruination, Body Press, Whirlwind. I don't want things setting up, so this is my main switch into Dragonite, so I can Whirlwind if he tries to set up, see if he's gonna be Choice Banded or something. The Citrus Berry will give me at least a good healing factor, so if they predict stuff is gonna two-shot me or do a specific amount, that can kind of catch them off guard, because I know Aster likes to run stuff like that. Next up, we have Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl here is a very strange set, and my win con? It is Babiri Berry with Spirit Break, Bulk Up, Sucker Punch, Drain Punch. If stuff is chipped down enough, or stuff is just completely gone, stuff like Flamigo, or Umbreon, this should be good enough to win me the game, hopefully. But Berry will make it so that I can at least set up a little bit on Tinkaton. And Steel Beam on Iron Treads can't destroy this, so that's cool. We've got Terra Poison Wo-Chien. This Wo-Chien is especially defensive. No, it's physically defensive, that's right. It is physically defensive with just a tad bit of speed on it, so I can outspeed something wants to try and creep me like Umbreon. And stuff like if Pecharunt is a thing. And I don't know, that one is kind of, it's got like 88 speed, so I don't know why I said that. I'd cut this out, but I don't edit my videos. Ruination, Terra Blast, Poison, Leech Seed, Stun Spore. Grass is very, very, very not good into their team. There's no reason why I should ever bring this. Unless they're Terra Water Umbreon. If they're Terra Water Umbreon, I'm going to cry, because I didn't prep for that at all. But Leech Seed, Stun Spore. Stun Spore is for the faster stuff. Cinderace being paralyzed would be really good. This is a way to paralyze Iron Treads. and that would be pretty nice in general. This is going to be like, if I'm Terra Poison, it's my main switch into stuff like Cinderace. It's my main switch into Ogerpon for the most part, and my switch into Flamingo. Next up, we have a new member of the team, King Gambit. I made transactions before week 5, and this was one of them. King Gambit is rocking Chople Berry. It's max HP, max attack. It's got the Defiant Nature in case they do want to be silly and bring the Pecharunt. Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, and Stealth Rock. If it gets up rocks, it's good. But it's mostly just kind of to hit things relatively hard for the most part. And it's my switch into a couple of more passive mons that kind of want to do stuff to my team. The Steel typing really helps my team a lot. And then lastly, we've got the other free agency move Pokemon. It is Sneasel. Sneasel is Choice Banded, rocking the Triple Axle, Knockoff, Brick Break, and Ice Shard. Originally, I was going to have Terra Blast at Ghost on this, but 9 times out of 10, or 95% out of 100, 95, that's 95, I'm tired, long day, I'm terroring my Wo-Chien. Unless Wo-Chien gets, like, completely crippled early, or it's just, like, basically useless, there's no reason why I wouldn't Terra that mon. So there's no reason for me to Terra Ghost, but basically the only reason I would be Terra Ghost is so that Dragonite E-Speed can't revenge it. And if they want to go for something like High Jump Kick on Cinderace being greedy, then that would be pretty good. But Choice Band hits their team relatively hard. Ice Shard is good things to be able to revenge, especially if Cinderace is already not Fire typing. Yeah, and Fake Out can't flinch me. So, that's my team. Like I said, I'm not feeling very good about this matchup. I'm most likely going to lose. If I can lose with less than a 3-0 or less, or I mean, I'm gonna try to win, but I think it'll be a success story if I don't get absolutely bodied. But that's gonna be it. I will see you guys shortly with the battle. Hey guys, this is post-COMM Shu speaking to you today. Yeah, I said I don't edit my videos, but yeah, I'm here to post-COMM for this video specifically for a couple of reasons. And most of it is just bad commentary for the second half of this battle, and I don't really wish to fill everyone's heads and ears with salt. Because I'm gonna just put the spoiler alert here now, because most of the people who watch these videos are just people who are in the league anyway. I got 6-0'd this week by Aster. And a lot of the stuff that I kind of learned about and things that happened in this battle made me incredibly salty, and I don't like how I came off in this battle. I said some pretty mean things out of, like, salt, and I don't want that to kind of dictate who I am or anything like that. So, making this post commentary to rectify that, apologize for that, and kind of give my thoughts of the battle as it kind of happened. Anyway, their team was basically exactly what I thought they were going to bring. The only thing was that they didn't bring Ogerpon, which I was kind of 50-50 about whether they wanted to bring that in or not. There's a running joke between that in the league where the Ogerpons are just kind of like taking over, and but then they lost last week, and then they didn't get any kills with Ogerpon, so it was just like, they're probably not going to bring it, but they could. I have to prep for it anyway because it's really strong. They lead off with Tinkaton in this game here. And Tinkaton was one of the biggest issues that I had prepping for in prep. I didn't have too much for it in general. And if this thing was like set up bulky, then it would have been a problem, which is exactly what they are. They are basically max HP, mostly attack, a nature that isn't attack boosting. I think it was, I actually have the sets here with me. I can take a look. Careful nature. And that made it very hard for me to revenge kill this thing when it sets up. It still does a lot of damage to me. And if I was Terra Fairy on Wo-Chien, the only other switching I would have had to it would have been bad. I wouldn't have been able to do too much. I did choose to go Terra Poison on Wo-Chien, mainly so that they couldn't do more shenanigans with Pecharunt. And if they wanted to bring Toxic Spikes on something. I don't actually remember if they have Toxic Spikes on any of their Pokemon. But just in case, the Fairy typing didn't really help me out because there's a lot more coverage. And because of this Pokemon right here. I went for a Stun Spore this turn, tried to slow it down so that things that can actually do damage to it and revenge it could get back at it, but I missed the Stun Spore. Go figure. One of the things that happened in this battle that kind of made me really upset. They bring out their Umbreon here, which is another Pokemon I didn't really have too much checks to. Kind of under-prepped for this thing, all things considered. Well, I didn't under-prep this. I under-prepped not Terra Umbreon, if that makes sense. I thought that they were just going to bring like a Banded Flamigo and then like Terra Fairy on this thing. And then they'd run like Wish, Baton Pass, Terra Blast. And I'd have a hard time dealing with their team in general. Thankfully, Wo-Chien being poison would have been helpful against this, and Leech Seed is just kind of annoying for their team to deal with. They do run the Wish here. This Umbreon is... This Umbreon is the main cause of my anger and why I've decided to post-commentate this game. We'll get to that when it happens here in the battle, but my ultimate main plan for this game was two things. One, seeing their speed tiers for their Pokemon. I wanted to just make sure I got chip on everything that I could, get up my rocks, have them keep getting things around like half health or something. That way I can just weaken things. I'm struggling. I'm not very good at post-comm. Basically, I needed things half health or less so that Greninja could clean things up, or I just needed some chip on specific Mon so that Grimmsnarl could be able to set up and win this game for me. And it was very difficult with this Pokemon here. Wish Umbreon was just... Wish with Taunt made things very hard. I couldn't get up my rocks here because I wanted to go into King Gambit because there really isn't too... Even if it was Terra Fairy with Terra Blast, King Gambit could very easily eat that. And, like, their best they can really do is, like, Baton Pass out on me. They might be able to Foul Play. They might have Foul Play in case I was, like, Swords Dance. But I wasn't Swords Dance, so I had, like, no reason to fear much at all. I believe here I predicted the Tinkaton to come back in, but they actually go out into Dragonite. I'll give them props. Their Dragonite that they prepped for me here was a really good set. It was a bulky it wasn't like max HP or anything like that, but it was a lot of defense. So that way King Gambit was like not a threat to it in any way. And it also was like I think it was like a no stab variant of it. I can actually double check that. Yeah, it had Iron Head and Low Kick, which basically took care of any kind of dark types on my team. And it had Extreme Speed for priority for revenge later. I still was gonna go out into Tinglu here because in case it was like a setup variant, then I had to try and deal with that. Unfortunately, it had Low Kick on it, and it did a lot of damage to me. So it was fairly unfortunate here for me. I needed to make sure that no matter what happened in this game, I did not let this thing set up. Looking at me calculating the damage, I was just like, is this thing banded? It doesn't look like it's banded. It doesn't even look like it's adamant or anything. So I didn't really fear it all that much seeing that, so I decided to go for the body press in case they wanted to go back out into Umbreon and go out into Tinkaton. But they actually go out into Flamigo here. Oh, I went for Ruination, not body press. Same difference essentially. This Flamigo was also a really cool set that I'm actually really impressed about. When I was doing the calcs and search for this thing, I was thinking that it might have been like, oh, maybe it's if it's Terra Flying and Brave Bird could do a lot more damage to me, or oh, hey, maybe they're Terra Ground for Terra Poison Wo Chien or something along those lines. I didn't really think too much of it, but I was looking at the damage it could do to Wo Chien, and I was like, I don't really fear this thing, and I don't really fear this thing on me either, because I'm physically defensive. I don't take much of anything from close combat, surprisingly, but they actually are Terra Stellar, which I believe is the first. I think I was the first person to use Terra Stellar in a battle in this league, and now they are using Terra Stellar, and it's really cool because Terra Blast would have two-shot Wo Chien if I had switched into it there, even if I was like physically defensive. Thankfully, I stayed in because I wasn't super afraid of this thing. And I wanted to see if they were like banded or scarfed or something like be aware of. So I go for body press there in case they also U-turned out. That did not much damage, even though they were -1 defense. And again, this thing actually had quite a bit of defensive investment into it. I think it was adamant with like very little speed. I guess they didn't think they needed the speed for anything, which, you know, they didn't. They prepped really well with that. So now I'm just sitting here thinking like, all right, what do I do about this? This thing is very bulky. I don't want to switch into anything. Terra Blast actually does a lot of damage to Wo Chien, so I can't really switch it in. They actually go for the Roost here, revealing that they're not Scarf. And I go for a Ruination to try and get some chip damage off on here. I wish I had the ability to speed up my video, because I do not have the means of being able to post comm for a long period of time. At this point, I was just like, I don't think they're going to actually go for Terra Blast this turn. So maybe I should just go on to Wo Chien. It seems like it would be fine, because if I just stay here on this, I'm not going to really make progress if it keeps roosting on me. I do decide to stay in and then go for the body press, though. So, you know, they go for the U-turn, which is Stellar boosted for that one hit. I also learned from this battle that the Stellar boost that you get for types does not reset when you switch out, which I think is pretty interesting. It makes Stellar a lot less scary. And probably less bringing to matches. I went for the body press. It did nothing. At this point, I'm thinking that there's just not any sort of setup variant on it, because it's just like, they're not doing anything to me here. I don't think I need to worry too much about this, and I really need my rocks up. But I know they're going to go for a Roost here, which they do. So I wanted to get off the Ruination so I can cut it down to half HP. I also wanted to see how much like an Earthquake would end up doing to it if it ended up roosting. I think that's what I do this turn. No, I go for another Ruination. They go for a low... Oh, okay, now I remember what happens. They go for a low kick on me as I go for the Ruination here to cut their HP down further. And I think this is where I switch into King Gambit so I can get my rocks up, because now I know they have to go for the Roost and I don't... Or this is where I test out Earthquake, I'm pretty sure. In case you're mad, I'm recording this at the end of the week, and I already had my battle with Rog at this point, which I'm not going to spoil how that match went. But, so there's a lot of my brain thought processes that isn't kind of translating well into this. And it's like, I don't remember what I did and specifically what... Yeah, this is the turn I go for Earthquake to see the damage on it. And... this is basically kind of where I learned that this thing is much more physically defensive than, like, a setup variant. So it's just like, oh, hey, that doesn't do much damage at all. Now what do I do? And I'm thinking maybe I just go for the Ruination this turn. Oh, no, I go for another Earthquake. And I think this is where they switch into Flamigo on my Earthquake, which I probably should have just Ruinationed. Yeah, they do that. Aster once again kind of making reads on my plays before I even can like think them through properly. They're really fucking good at this game. It's hard to kind of keep up with them. But at this point, I think I've settled on just sacking this thing off, because it's not really going to do too much to for their team. And the first death does go down for Ting Lu there. This does allow me to see what they're going to want to switch in. And I think they go Tinkaton here. And if they go Tinkaton, then I'm just like, okay. Looking at how much damage they can do to me, I actually don't think they can do too much damage to King Gambit, so this would be an opportunity to get up my rocks and then maybe get some chip off on this thing. So I should be good with that. So I do bring out my King Gambit here, as I kind of mentioned. I apologize for the sudden cuts. For this, I'm basically just pausing and unpausing my recording as the video kind of plays out, so I can cut out some things that are just kind of, I don't have much to say here, or there's just a long queue of like wait time that's happening. But yeah, essentially I went, at this point my thought process was, okay, I need this thing dead like ASAP. I need chip on everything else in the back. So I need to put up rocks and then just sack off King Gambit so I can Iron Head this and get some damage off on it. There isn't much King Gambit is useful for in this game, considering that its main purpose was to deal with Pecharunt, just in case they brought it. But it still can put up the rocks and be useful for the team here. Unfortunately, I didn't realize the full scope of some of the mons in the back, so I probably should have kept this. But they do decide to go for the Brick Break here, activating my Choppleberry. That does absolutely no damage. I can live another one without the Choppleberry. King Gambit's bulky as fuck. So I get up my rocks here, and now I'm just like, okay, I need to get some chip on this thing, maybe go for an Iron Head. If it's like just max HP or something like that, I should be able to bring it down to like half health. And then from there, it's like, all right, well, I think I need to just sack off Sneasel so I can weaken this thing further, and then bring out Greninja, and then start trying to do stuff from there. That's kind of my mindset here. Not exactly the best thought process, but like at this point, I'm realizing just how outmatched my team is versus theirs, and I'm trying to like 5-head big brain a play in order to get me to my win con. Because at this point, my win con is Grimmsnarl. But this is one of the biggest things I need to like weaken out in order to do that. I get a big amount of chip off with that Iron Head, which is nice. But unfortunately, they are still in a range with their HP that I'm not gonna be able to revenge it with Greninja. And this is where I'm just like, okay, I need to use Sneasel here. So I need to sack off King Gambit so that I can bring out Sneasel, sack off Sneasel to get some damage off on it. And hopefully be able to revenge it with Greninja after that. Yep, so this turn they do Brick Break me and finish me off, and that is King Gambit dead. Unfortunate first showcasing for King Gambit, but, you know, not much you can do, and probably the best team going in against your Mono Dark team is fully prepared for you here. So this is where I was just thinking, all right, I think I need to sack Sneasel here. I need to get chip on this so that Greninja can kill it, because Greninja is going to be more important to this game than Sneasel will be. So I probably just need to go in, do as much damage with either a knockoff or triple axle, whichever one brings it into range for Greninja, and say, man, I'm so glad I made these moves for these two Pokemon that definitely put in work this game. It was a great decision. I still like my decisions for this because Sneasel basically does what Weavile does. It's just weaker and a little slower, but it's way more cheap. And I've wanted to use King Gambit for a long time. So now is my chance to do so with Mono Dark. So yeah, now I'm in with Sneasel, and I'm just like, all right, I have to go for triple axle here. I was checking for the Brick Break damage too, I think, in this time. And I'm just like, surprisingly enough, Triple Axel actually does significantly more to Tinkaton than Brick Break does, which shouldn't surprise me. Stab plus the power that this thing can have is pretty impressive. I go for the Triple Axel here to get some damage, and unfortunately, I only hit the one time, which is mega unfortunate because they went for Swords Dance there. Now, let me put this into perspective. If I had gotten even 2 hits there instead of the 1, even if I got the 2, not even the 3, that puts it in range for another Triple Axel to kill it afterwards. And because they didn't attack me there, they went for Swords Dance. I could have either killed this thing off with a little bit of luck, or gotten major chip off on whatever else wanted to come in when they want to save this. But because I only got the 1 hit, and they try to make it up to me for a crit, which literally doesn't matter. It doesn't help, because look at that. The second hit would have done it. But because that ended up happening, I end up losing my Sneasel, which kind of was the plan for what I wanted anyway, but considering they went for Swords Dance that turn, really upset me. Yeah, at this point, Miss Stun Spore, 1 hit on Triple Axel. I'm already way down in the back. They've got massive mons for everything I've got, and I'm just like, well, this is probably basically over for me. Thankfully, though, from this range, Ice Beam does kill Tinkaton. So I do decide to go for that because there isn't a switch-in on their team for Ice Beam. Their best switch-in is Umbreon. Because Cinderace is probably still going to take a bunch of damage from that, even if it does have some like HP investment. They do bring out the Umbreon here, and I go for the Ice Beam here. Get off a not great amount of damage, but it is decent. Because even if it does have Wish, it should 2-shot from this range, I believe. Well, no, because the Leftovers is bringing it back. So I'm basically hoping for a crit or a freeze here. But then they reveal Protect, and you're starting to see the set that they had for Umbreon here. They have Wish, Protect, and Taunt, and I'm like, okay. That means that if they're not Terra, they don't have Terra Blast, so they're probably Foul Play on this, right? But Foul Play doesn't make too much sense outside of anything besides King Gambit. So I'm like, all right, what is their attacking move on this thing? What are they gonna do? Are they actually Baton Pass? But seeing how much damage to do the Wish does, I would be able to have killed this off had they not had Protect. But they had the Protect, so you know, not much I can do with this. At this point, I'm getting frustrated because it's like, oh, I know they got Protect here. They're going to Protect to get their HP back. I could go into Grimmsnarl here, try to set up. I could go into to Wo-Chien to try and get a Leech Seed off on this thing or something. But on the off chance they like think that they live or it's a roll, then I still should probably go for Ice Beam. But they go for the Protect again, and I am quickly losing hope and energy for this battle. And this is about where my commentary takes a major crash. Because it's like, all right, well, now I just have to hope for a crit or a freeze. I've gotten hacks against me. Maybe I can get some luck in return. That does like no damage. I'm Life Orb. I'm getting whittled down. And then they reveal the Toxic. And this is where I get mad. This is where I go off on like how their team already had a major advantage against mine, and how Umbreon already kind of walled my team. And I hate just like, I understand I have Wo-Chien on my team, but my Wo-Chien I've tried to make at least somewhat offensive considering its moveset that it has. I ran it offensive one of the weeks, and it's just Wish, Protect, Taunt, Toxic, Umbreon set me off and made me very mad. And I apologize to Aster because despite, I understand they were doing what they needed to do to win, And like me, regardless of that, I shouldn't have been as salty and as mad that I made myself in this video. But those kind of stall sets really get under my skin. And considering they were already up 6-3 against me, they preserved the Tinkaton for the differential. They were just wish protect stalling me here, and then they throw out the toxic, and it's just like, well, why am I even playing this game at this point? And it's just, regardless of how upset and mad I get when it comes to this game and the plays that kind of come out, I shouldn't take that out on people. And I definitely took that out on Aster in this game. And that's the reason why I'm post-commentating this. I don't want my anger at a video game to affect my friendship and relationships with people in this league. So ultimately, despite how much of a kind of a pain it is for me to post-commentate and how bad of quality or how much I struggle with kind of doing this, ultimately it's for the better. And I do apologize again to Aster and to everyone else in the league, because they really wouldn't have deserved to hear this from me. Yeah, and at this point I've kind of given up mentally. Like, the only way I win this game is if they have like all physical attacks on their team and they decide not to toxic me on Grimmsnarl, and I can set up with Grimmsnarl. But it's just kind of like not much more I can do, because like they're just wish protect stalling me at this point. It's like there's not much I can really kind of do about it. And there goes Greninja, and probably is this its saddest death? Because I think the missed Hydro and died to the Scarf Titan back in week 1 probably was more sad, because if I had hit that, I just probably won the game from there. But here it was just kind of like I was already on the low, and it just got lower and lower, and that was just a sad way for it to go. I thought about going into Wo-Chien there, but ultimately I'd just be stalling this game even further, just throwing out Leech Seed, and then they switch out into something else, and then it's just like it doesn't really get anywhere. So I just want to kind of speed up this battle and just try to set up here. Hopefully they don't go for like a toxic on me, but I know they're going to go for a toxic on me. There's not much I can kind of do to stop it, but I instead, considering the amount of damage it would have done, I do go for the Spirit Break, just try to kill it. Instead, they switch out, preserving the thing, and go out into the Iron Treads. They reveal their treads to be booster speed on it. I believe they had no attack investment on this thing. It was like, again, very physically defensive with a lot of speed in it. And had SPDF and HP in it too. It's again a really good set. It's just very depressing to kind of experience. But this is kind of what Grimmsnarl was designed to set up on. I do go for the bulk up here. I should have gone for it when the Umbreon was in, but I kind of needed to do this, because if it toxic, I was faster than it, and if it toxic me, I was screwed anyway. So now I do another bulk up, and I'm just like, all right, hopefully they can't stop me at this point. They try to Iron Hand flinch me. I'm going to go for it. And then they reveal Iron Defense. And at this point, I know it's over. There's nothing I can do to stop this. I would need to get a crit. And considering how my luck has been in this game, my one crit has already been done, and it was on the first hit of Triple Axle earlier. They go for another Iron Defense, now they're +4. I'm going to get a little bit of HP back from this Drain Punch, but it really isn't all that much. Yeah, that does absolutely nothing. I don't even think a crit would have... No, a crit would have killed it, considering I'm +2. So now it's just a matter of... Well, I probably need one more bulk up, and then I crit a Drain Punch, or I get a Drain Punch and crit a Sucker Punch. because they probably have body press, and body press will do more to me than Iron Head would at this point. And I can't really stall that out. Or they can just go to +6, and then I really can't do anything about it. At this point, this game is over. It's just like even if I did crit, right? Even if I crit here against them and was able to kill this off, I would have to hope I'm faster than Umbreon with this set, which I don't believe I was, because they had speed investment on Umbreon. I would need to outplay the Roost turns with Flamigo. I would need to hope that they weren't, like, if I did somehow outspeed the Umbreon and kill it before it toxic me, I would have to hope they weren't, like, Will-O-Wisp on their Cinderace so that they would burn me, which, fun fact, they were. So that was another thing that would have stopped me from sweeping this. I had to try to outplay the Swords Dances on Tinkaton. And then Dragonite really, from its set, couldn't do anything to me with 3 defenses up. So my chances of winning, even coming back with that, were very, very, very low, and I needed a lot of things to go my way. And unfortunately, I didn't. So and I kind of gave up at this point because there's nothing I can do. But that's basically a 6-0 in their favor. But GG's to you, Aster. You got a lot of really good sets, and then an Umbreon. Props to you. We'll see if you're able to get the 1 seed, or if you're gonna just keep fighting Rog and Rio and Ren for that spot, because the top 4 are really fighting hard for that position, and I'm not sure who's gonna end up getting it. Meanwhile, me though, I have to basically win. I have to win both my games against Rog and Ren in order to make playoffs, and then I need a bunch of people to lose for things to go my way as well. So it ain't looking good for me. But I guess anything's possible. And as this game kind of comes to a close and they kill me off here, I thank you guys for your understanding and patience with dealing with this post-commentary. I hope you have yourselves a great rest of your day today, and take care.